So what makes the perfect 90s boombox in my opinion? Well, first up, you have to have a tape deck with auto reverse and Dolby noise reduction. And since we're talking the 90s, it has to have a CD player with digital display and program play. In addition, it was really nice to have a graphic EQ. Spectrum analyzer will be nice, but a manual graphic EQ works as well. Detachable speakers give you that stereo separation that everybody desires. And one huge benefit of 90s boomboxes, you get a digital tuner for AM and FM radio, not that analog crap from the 80s and before. And what about an auxiliary input to future-proof your boombox? We'd love to have one of those. But how about really the coolest thing, a built-in subwoofer for extra bump? That's right, how many portable systems had these? Not very many. Now it seems like a lot of people are in love with these 80s boomboxes with the manual tuners, big speakers, heavy to carry around. But in my opinion, people are overlooking the 90s one, so that's what I'm going to do today and show you a really cool 1990s boombox. And yes, the anticipation is growing because it took me forever to unbox this, but big shout out to the seller for protecting this jewel. And as you'll see right here when we show it closer up, this thing is in mint shape, and it's from around 1989 to 1990, which is crazy. Let's pull out the old Crutchfield from fall of 1990, winter 1991, and in the portable stereo section, we will see some models including JVC. That's what this is, the JVC PC-X200. Not sure about that J there, they added it. $299 back then, which is equivalent to $750 in 2026. That's big money for a portable stereo system. And JVC was always one of the most popular brands for people who wanted the best. Now let's pull out this compact disc buyer's guide for 1991 and we'll show the retail price of this unit. You can see the PC-X200J there. $400 was the retail price, but the street price is about $100 less. Now there are other models including the PC-X500, which is a dual well cassette model, and this one is quite a bit more money. This was an extra $100 to get that extra cassette deck and a little bit more power. And if you wanted to go top line, the PC-X1000 included a 6-disc CD changer and wireless remote control and a lot more built-in power, 15 watts per channel for the front channels. $750 back in the day. Yo! Let's step back to reality. In the PC-X200 we have here, dimensions 26.5 by 9 5/8 by 9 1/3, and it weighs 18.3 pounds. Big Daddy. Let's look at the front here. Detachable speakers are 4-inch wide range drivers. These are not dual cone or do not have separate tweeters, which is a shame. We'll talk about that later. We also have the dual hyper-bass ports on the front. Yes, this has a built-in powered subwoofer. And to enable it, you push a little button there that says hyper-bass sound, and yes, it makes a difference. And again, we'll show you that when we get to the demo portion. Pretty awesome. There's also a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack there on the front if you want to listen to your tunes privately. Back in the early 90s, digital tuners were big because you wanted to tune in your favorite local station. This one had 10 FM and 5 AM presets, and it works very well even today. Also, we have the single well cassette player recorder with auto reverse and Dolby B noise reduction. Now, some of the other models I showed you earlier had dual well cassette decks. This one has a single cassette deck, but it works pretty well, and I will show that coming up. Although CD players were introduced in the 80s, very few portable units had them until the 90s, and this one has it with programmable playback. This is a top-load model. It has the 3-beam laser pickup, and again, we'll show the demo of that later and talk about some of the drawbacks as well. 5-band EQ, that's right, plus or minus 8 dB at 63, 250, 1K, 4K, and 16 kilohertz. I would have loved to have seen this digitally and have a Spectrum display, but it doesn't have it. But it has this weird extra space. Not sure if they were planning on different sliders or whatever. Also on the top, we have various controls for source, the tape, the Dolby, the volume, all that good stuff here. Switch between your tape, tuner, or CD. Also some tape functions there in your Dolby B. Enable or disable, and nice big volume knob. Thank you, JVC. Now let's spin around this big unit here and find out what's on the back of it. You can see the speaker wires coming out, but here we are. The speaker outputs have the flip and lock style connectors, and you can extend those if needed to make your speakers even further apart. It says speaker minimum 3 ohm there on the back. Also, we have the RCA output, but it's also an input. That's pretty unusual because it says CD out here. It doesn't say anything about input till you look in the manual. Battery compartment has 8 D cell capacity for 12 volts. That's right, 8 D batteries is going to make this thing super heavy, and that's just typical of boomboxes back in the day. But it's also a great place to store the power cord because this unit will typically be used plugged into the wall. And there is the battery compartment, very clean. This one doesn't have any deterioration of the terminals or anything, so that's very nice. AC power works with 110, 120, 220, or 240 with a switch, so you can use this pretty much anywhere in the world, and that's very nice to be able to have that functionality. And we'll spin it back around and take some more looks at the gander of the beautifulness of this 90s JVC boombox. And while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and get it wired up. Now, the way it should be wired here is the one with the stripe goes to negative. I did it wrong here, but I did switch it around before we did the sound test. And of course, we plugged it into the wall so that we can give it a sample test here. We're not going to waste the D batteries, but we did go ahead and clean the cassette mechanism, the play and record head, and also the cap stand. So got it all nice and clean and ready to use. So let's fire it up and see how it works. It's hard not to use it without the hyper bass enable because it sounds so much fuller and better. Let's try the Dolby noise reduction now. I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of cassettes just because I used them way long time ago and just was not impressed with them. But anyway, this one sounds pretty good overall. Next up, we'll try the top load CD player and see how it works here. We'll open it up and put in a factory pressed CD, which is important, and I'll talk about that more. But let's put it in, and if I would have let it sit there for a second, it would display the track number and also the time total that's on the disc. But I just went ahead and hit play, so it's going to start track 1. So let's give it a listen and see how it sounds. As I mentioned before, on the back we have RCA inputs. These turn out to be outputs as well as inputs. We want to use it as an input, so we're going to plug it in here using the 3.5 millimeter to dual RCAs and go into our little Bluetooth receiver here from Scosh. I have shown this off in a previous video, and yeah, this works perfect because it's battery powered. We'll go ahead and get it connected to our phone, and we're going to try some songs, some more recent songs, a little bit more bass. Let's see how it sounds in this aspect. Are you ready? Crank up your headphones and your volume, and here we go.
Yo, crank it up, man. The bass don't stutter. Rise powered by the MTX Blue Thunder. 300 watts, yeah, the streets gon' quake. Metallic Orion, man, they don't make mistakes. Blue in the dye, shining cold like frostbite. Amp so clean, make the subs ignite. Bipolar transistors, Thunder EQ. Sound so crisp, it can slice right through. Got Molex plugs, wiring so tight. Old school tech, but it hits just right. Clipping indicators flash, red to green. Candy blue Mazda, 326 clean. Extended cab lane, whole block scene. Snug top shut, no tools, just trust. Chrome 5 stars, kicking up dust. Drop spindle scrape every driveway edge. Retro stripe blast down the body like a pledge. Tweed on the seat.
If you know, then you know. V pattern for the win.
Same clothes, new rig. Mini truck green, rolling on 15. Neon lights glow. So clean, big subwoofers make the night shake. Loud stereo system, watch the glass quake.
Now, back in the day, I happen to remember visiting electronic stores and playing around with boomboxes like this, and I remember them having little pieces of paper or plastic or something attached to these ports so you could see the air blow out of the ports. And that's what I'm going to do today. I know it's kind of silly, but hey, it's fun and it's retro nostalgia. Let's see how it sounds.
Shake loud stereo system, watch the glass quake. The mini truck dreaming, slide so slow. Whole West Coast in the full banger show. Mini truck dreaming, hands on the wheel, low to the ground, get high on the field. From the swap meet scores to the Friday nights, from the Buster Stop ride to the custom life. If you know that's great when the frame tap down, then you know that look when the heads turn round. Candy Mazda, extended cab, two-tone drip, retro graphics down the side, whole block biting the lip, drop spindles, 5-star rims, clean spin, rolling on 15s, frame kissing that cement, snug top shut, bed smooth like a mink, tweed interior plush, same color as the drink, neon lights glow, undercarriage slow crawl, mini trucking in the lane, but I'm feeling 10 feet tall, mini truck tail dragging through the coast, 5-speed slide, let it go.
Since JVC didn't provide any lights, I provided my own. I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to pick some of these up. Let's try them and see how it looks with the sounds.
On these streets, take weight, pop, old school in the slot, spectrum equalizer, all them little colors hot, serving Vega in the back, shaking up the avenue, precision power on the rack, pushing every decibel, CD changing tuck.
So I know the paper in front of the ports kind of makes a horrible sound here for the video, but I did want to show you the amount of air that was rushing out. But for the rest of the video, I'll take them off.
Trees, mini train, mini truck tail dragging through the coast, 5-speed slide, let it go, big subwoofers beating out the trunk, loud stereo system got it crunk, yeah, mini truck, little body, big flex, whole car show, breaking neck, from the B twin seats.
Time to detach the speakers, get us a little wider stereo separation. Let's try it and see how it sounds.
Baby, you give me
Also disconnected the JVC speakers and hooked up the German Maestro car audio speakers. Let's see how they sound.
Diamond tip tweeters, shining so bright, polished polyester, sharper than a knife. 20-ounce magnet pulling in the surf. 3-way speakers got my rival spellbound. Max power 100 watts, still legit. Wow.
Since I'm curious, and you guys may be as well, we're going to hook up this JVC boombox to the resistors and the portable amp dyno here, the AMM1, and find out how much power the front two speakers do. There's no way to hook up to the subwoofer unless we open it up. But let's try the main speakers here and see how much power we get. What do you think? How much is it going to do? I'm going to try first through Bluetooth, and then I may get the CD because we got the volume max all the way up. Now let's try the 1 kilohertz track here, see what we get. Both channels are loaded at 4 ohms. The reason you're hearing the 1 kilohertz tone here is actually coming through the powered subwoofer because it was enabled during these tests. I tried it with and without, didn't make any difference in the output. 3 watts. It does not look like we hit clipping, so we may not have enough boost. Maybe we can bump the 1 kilohertz on the EQ up. Let's try it again. See if that does anything to give us any more power. Here we go. Let's try it again. All right, 3 watts and no clipping. So let me go see if I can find the CD and we'll try that. Now here is the issue with early CD players, and like this one, unfortunately from JVC, it does not play burned CDs. And I used to burn quite a bit of CDs and know the difference in the quality of the CD, the speed at which you burn the CD. There's a lot of ways to make CDs more compatible. And in this case, I was not able to get any of my burned CDs working properly with this JVC. It did read the table of contents on one, but it would never read a track. Now, according to the specs, 3.5 watts per channel is close to what we got. We got 3 watts, but we're not able to max out the amp. And unfortunately, we're not able to test the subwoofer portion. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But JVC rates it a little bit higher, 5 watts plus 5 watts at 10% distortion. We didn't get close to that. But I decided I wanted to take it apart and look inside because I was really interested in finding out more about this hyperbass, quote-unquote, powered subwoofer, which turns out just to be a 4.5-inch driver. But you can see here at the bottom, that is most of the unit that's taken up is the powered subwoofer. And I thought, wow, looking at this, hey, I can probably take out a few more screws and just get this whole thing out. And you can see all the capacitors and all the different components here. There's several different circuit boards. And like most of these type of units, they look like they might not be too hard to work on, but they are actually a real pain in the butt to get into. The interesting part about this particular boombox, probably a lot of the JVCs that had this hyperbass or super woofer or whatever they called it, is a very good portion of this unit is taken up by, I believe this is the subwoofer here. So there's several screws that hold it in. I'm going to take all the screws out, see if I can pull this piece out so we can get a closer look at it. I think it's a 4-inch driver. I've got it pretty good way out, but it feels like it's stressing some of the ribbon cables, and it looks like some of them are actually routed on top of this, which I don't know how in the world they could actually do that, because it looks like this piece goes in last. But anyway, I'm going to keep fiddling with it and see if I can get it out. Now, once I took off my dunce hat and put on my thinking cap, I looked at the service manual and found out, yes, you have to take off the CD portion first, big dummy. And that's how you get to the subwoofer driver. I didn't do this and I got frustrated and I didn't want to break it, so I put it back together. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of the PC-X200. First up, the good stuff. It has CD, tape, tuner, and auxiliary. Has a digital AM/FM tuner, 5-band graphic equalizer, detachable speakers to widen that stereo sound, a powered bass speaker, which is pretty impressive for something to be so small. The auxiliary in and out is sweet, and the sound is pretty good from a unit of this size and this vintage. Things that could be better: it doesn't have tweeters, no CDR playback, it does not have a wireless remote, no Spectrum display, but you can get the ones like I had. I'll leave you a link below. Cassette mechanism serviceability is difficult to get to change the belts and stuff. And honestly, it's not loud enough for most people, but it's still real cool to be from 1990. As I mentioned earlier, the 90s boomboxes, in my opinion, don't get enough appreciation. People like the 80s ones, the real big ones with the stupid analog tuners. Come on, people. 90s is where it's at with the boomboxes. Before everything was made in China, these were still made in Japan. Very quality units, still work today. So very cool overall. Let me know what you think below. What's your favorite 90s boombox if you had one? I'd like to hear that. Also, I purchased a parts unit of one of these, and we'll dig into it deeper if this video does okay. If you guys like to see these style units, let me know. If you like these style videos, let me know. I appreciate you always for watching. You can get early access to my videos through patreon.com/oldschoolstereo or through YouTube channel subscriptions. I appreciate you all, though, for watching, commenting, leaving me a thumbs up. You guys rock. Till next time, this is Big D. I'm out of here.